My brother loves the Mummy movies. When we were growing up for a year straight, he would watch the three starring Brendan Fraser on repeat. They're fun action comedies with a theme of ancient Egyptian mysticism. But when there's Arabs involved, you know there's gonna be Orientalism abound. Let's set the record straight. Ancient Egyptians and modern Arabs are two distinct ethnicities. We are not the same. This movie takes place in 1920s Egypt and involves Arabs. So I'm gonna check it out. Let's watch the first movie together and see what they get right, what they get wrong, and what makes us laugh together. Trust me, there's gonna be a lot of laughing. And let's make it fun. I'll do the next Mummy movie if you hype this video and we get 666,000 likes. Yalla! After some intro setup scenes of Imhotep trying to immortalize Anck-su-namun but failing, we're transported to 1920s Egypt. Legionnaires are bracing for an attack by horse riding, yelling, violent Arabs. We don't know anything about the scene or what's happening, but the way it's filmed and the music, we're meant to feel like these Arabs are barbaric. It's a common negative stereotype on our people. One thing pops out to me. As the men are charging, you hear them do a vocal undulation called the Zagruda. This is weird. The Zagruda is common among the Arab world and it's done as a sign of happiness. You commonly hear it at weddings, for celebrations, or just as an emotional outburst of joy. My aunts can do them amazingly. But here's the thing. It's exclusively done by women. Men do not do the Zagruda. It's not used in battle, and it's definitely not done as a battle cry. The filmmakers purposefully overdubbed the Zagruda into this scene. If these extras are Arab, they wouldn't have been doing it because they're men and they know better. But why add this in? It's a fictional narrative tool to tell the audience, look, these are Arabs. They scream in a different way. They chant differently. They have battle cries. They're different from us. Fear them. But what about their clothes? Are they authentic? I say it's in line with 1920s Arabia. Men would be wearing cloaks and turbans. Let's give credit to the costume designer because, hey, it looks like they did their homework. We see black-clothed people. The narrator calls this person the Magi. That's bizarre. In Arabic, the Magi or Maj'us in Arabic is a term referring to Zoroastrians. Why would they call a bodyguard of the ancient Egyptians a term for the Zoroastrians? There is a closer term, which is the Medjay, but little is known about the Medjay people. What we do know is they were kind of like a nomadic desert police. They weren't personal bodyguards to kings. Did you notice that? I said kings rather than pharaohs. Pharaoh literally means great house. It was a term to denote the royal palace. The first dated appearance of the title pharaoh being attached to a ruler's name occurs in year 17 of Siamun, the 10th century BCE. Imhotep lived around the 27th century BCE. He wouldn't refer to himself as pharaoh, and no one would either. It's just a fun little historical mistake that's throughout the whole movie. This character is Ardath Bey, and he's played by Oded Fehr. He's an Israeli actor. I read a number of articles online and people have told me that this character is an example of a positive Arab representation. But the thing is, he's not Arab. He is a descendant of ancient Egyptians. That's a different ethnicity. This is not an Arab character. It's an ancient Egyptian. And they got an Israeli to play an ancient Egyptian character. It's a dagger stab when you don't get an actor of that ethnicity, but you twist the blade when it's an Israeli playing an ancient Egyptian. You know, Israel, the genocidal apartheid country that has been ethnically cleansing Palestinians for almost 80 years now, Israelis are committing genocide on Palestinians as we speak. Free Palestine. Next up, we see the star of the movie, Brendan Fraser. He's the main character hero who's called Rick O'Connell. Just to note, Brendan Fraser is Canadian. We see him gun down tens, if not hundreds of Arabs in this scene. We have no idea what the context of this scene is. Why are the Arabs rushing this area? Why are the French legionnaires defending it? But they make sure to play heroic music every time we see Rick. This is a signal. Europeans and Americans are on the right side no matter what's happening. They can kill hundreds hundreds of disposable, worthless Arabs and you'll cheer them on, even though you have no idea what's going on. But let me fill you in. He's a treasure robber. He's at this site to steal ancient Egyptian artifacts that do not belong to him, and the Arabs are coming to defend the area. And even though he's in the wrong, you can't think about that. He's justified in killing the Arab defenders because he's American. He's the hero. They got the heroic music playing. It's so revolting. Rick is running out into the desert and we cut to the quote-unquote Magi. They speak Arabic. The guy on the left sounds kind of Arab, but Mr. Israeli actor doesn't. His accent is more off than a 14-year-old mango. I get what he's saying, but the last word is pronounced poorly. They show a shot of Egypt and start playing circus-sounding music. I've got no idea why, but hey, at least this looks like Egypt. But is it authentic? If there are any amazing Egyptians watching, comment and let us know if this is real. We're introduced to Evelyn and Jonathan, who are brother and sister. They're supposed to be half Egyptian, half British, but you could fool me. They're in a Cairo prison. Look at the people in the back. They're wearing the correct type of fez. The Egyptian fez is taller compared to the Moroccan one. The clothes on the rest of the people look reasonably correct. We're introduced to a minor character named Warden Gad. He's supposedly Egyptian, but doesn't look or sound it. That's because he's not. He's British actor Hamid Jalil, who's of Iranian descent. He hasn't directly said he's a Zionist, but all of his public statements closely align with Pahlavi supporting Iranians who are pro-Zionist. Please don't tell me there are 0 Arab actors in this movie. Side note, this actress, Rachel Weisz, looks almost identical to one of my friends. I keep doing a double take while watching the movie because they look so familiar. Rick intrigues Evelyn. He convinces her to save him so he can take her to the tomb of Hamunaptra. Then he grabs her face and sexually assaults her with a kiss. It's sick, but unsurprising. It aligns with American chauvinistic hero males handling women as a trait of masculinity. It's misogynistic, not just because he forces a kiss, but because later on, she starts falling for him. This becomes a part of the plot. This won't be the last time Evelyn is sexually assaulted like this by a character. You wait and see. But it's troubling because the main woman character is reduced to an object, a prize. This resonates with a theme in the movie, capturing women. At the start of the movie, Imhotep is simping over Anaxunamun. He comes back to life in 1920s Egypt because he wants to get it on with her. He tries using Evelyn as a vessel to bring her back. This hurts because Evelyn is set up as a smart librarian character who can handle herself, but the movie throws her back into the role of being an object of desire, the prize for the man. The way Hollywood movies belittle women is deeply disturbing. It's more surprising because this movie came out in 1999. You'd think it was filmed in 1949. Look at Gad here. He pretends to spit, a disgusting act that reinforces harmful stereotypes that they're trying to project onto Arabs. They're dirty, they're awful, they're disgusting. Rick is about to be hanged, but Evelyn is trying to bribe Gad to let him go. After saying awful Arabic pronunciation of Yahmar, which means donkey, then saying, which means stop, but it's weird because he can just say wagif, not wagif andik, which technically means stop in your place. He can just say wagif, stop. Then he suggests, what can she give other than money? He's a very lonely man, he says, as he caresses her thigh. More sexual assault. You can read this as Arabs being hypersexual, but really it's more of a comedic gag because she smacks him, then the entire prison laughs at him. The stakes get higher. She says she'll give him 10% of the reward from what they find in Hamunaptra. But of course, because he's Arab, he has to haggle. It's a common Arab stereotype. Arabs are always haggling because they're untrustworthy, they're greedy, and they always want to have the upper hand. I've seen it in hundreds of movies. Or maybe he's just trying to squeeze more out of the deal. You decide. He hilariously accidentally bargains down to 25% from 30%, which you can read as Arabs are dumb. But come on, it's just a goofy gag. Rick finds his friend Benny. This is actor Kevin James O'Connor. Yep, I called it. No Arab actors to be seen. His character is a hybrid of comedy relief and the smiley bad guy. Look at his headdress. This isn't a fez, it's a shashiyah. It's typically worn by Tunisians and Libyans. Why is an American wearing it? I've got no clue, but hey, it's different. There's a shootout on the boat between the black cloaked Bedouin coated Magi and the Americans. And I love this moment. Americans. This plays into an American stereotype and it tickles me. They're always gung-ho about guns. Thankfully, there are many Americans who are anti-gun, but the right to own one is in their constitution, for crying out loud. Also, this is an example of satirizing your own people. That's why it's funny. It's based on a truthful law instead of playing out fake stereotypes about other people. When the Americans go ashore, one of them says, "This a messed up country." Okay, why the jab? Maybe he's upset, but I don't get the inclusion of this line because it doesn't come off as comedic, just offensive. Jonathan is buying camels. He can't believe the price. Rick then comments,
"Probably could have got him for free. All we had to do is give him your sister."
Wow. As if we're not getting enough misogyny in this movie. This time, it's wrapped up in an offensive stereotype. He's saying women can be traded for camels. Women are less than animals. And it's disgusting. This stereotype is often hurled at Arabs, that they trade women for goats or camels. Well, excuse me, there's no way you're getting 4 whole camels for one woman. We see Evelyn walking away from niqab-covered women. She's donning a veil across her face. In the background, they play an Orientalist, mysterious-sounding flute. Rick looks at her and his face says, "Whoa. Look at her in the veil. She's beautiful. She's desirable." This is playing into an uncomfortable Orientalist stereotype, the exotic woman. He's suddenly attracted to her because she's mysterious looking, exotic, different. It's problematic and gross. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear from the voice of a British Egyptian woman. Selim 11E is part of the community, and these are her thoughts on the character of Evelyn. As a child of mixed heritage growing up in Britain, this is the only film I saw with a half Egyptian character. Having said that, Rachel Weisz is not Arab, and watching this as an adult, I would say her portrayal is a mixed bag of damsel in distress and empowered scholar that sits uneasily, given her romance with the main American character with notions of saving Arab women from their surroundings. Thank you so much for your valuable voice. Want your thoughts highlighted in future videos? Subscribe and join in on the conversation of the community posts. I'd love to see you there. They play more Orientalist sounding drums and Western instruments while they're riding camels in the desert. It is painful to hear. Also, while editing, I noticed this moment. Jonathan says he never did like camels. They're filthy. They smell, they bite, they spit. And then it immediately cuts to the quote-unquote Arab character spitting. It's right there in front of our faces. This is a metaphor for the Arabs. He's never liking them. And then it directly cuts to an Arab character doing the filthy thing, communicating to the audience, hey, this is what Arabs are. This is what Arabs are like. It's insane.
Never did like camels. Filthy buggers. They smell, they bite, they spit. Disgusting.
There's a nice scene and Gad is sleeping. Jonathan whacks him. He wakes up and immediately says, "What the Okay, yani he's Arab, but why do they have to play into offensive, stupid stereotypes like he's dreaming of goats because, oh, that's what Arabs eat all the time? I know it's supposed to be a silly moment, but it just feels slimy, almost woolly. The camera is zooming into the Israeli actor and we get more awfully pronounced Arabic. A British actor is directing Arabs and we get his attempt at Arabic. Then this bingo bongo says this line.
They're led by a woman. What does a woman know?
Oof. More rampant misogyny. Hollywood can't help itself reinforcing tired, awful tropes. Gad leaves the group and Jonathan says, "Hey, where the
our smelly little friend get here?
So now Arabs are smelly. Then he doubles down on the comment later.
Well, he may have been a stinky fella, but he had good taste.
I don't get why they're throwing in so many jabs at Arabs in a movie set in Egypt. It's kind of shocking. By the end of the movie, I'm going to share some information with you that's going to help shed some light on this. There's a fight scene between the Magi and the expedition crew. The disposable Egyptians get slaughtered without a care in the world. Then one of the aggressors does the Zagruda again. This gives more evidence to my claim that they added it in intentionally previously and in this scene. As I predicted earlier, the macho man sexually assaulting Evelyn makes her fall for him. She gets drunk and says she's gonna kiss him, but then falls over in a stupor. It's a sick male fantasy that's problematic on more levels than a Super Monkey Ball game. Evelyn reads from the Book of the Dead and locusts start appearing. Oh my goodness. Are they gonna start doing the plagues from the Bible? We see a CGI Imhotep mummy. I gotta say, this CGI looks good for a 90s movie. He sees Evelyn and the first thing he says is, "Anaksuna." My people, imagine being so horny that the mere sight of any woman makes you think of a woman that you simped on so hard that it costs you your life. Wow, it is so goofy. The mummified Imhotep runs into Benny. He's scared, pulls out a cross, and starts praying for protection. Then he pulls out a necklace with a sword and wings that reminds me of ancient Egyptian symbology. He speaks in broken Arabic. Okay, I get it. It's funny. He's going through different religions, trying to see what works. But then... Are you serious right now? Are you actually serious? Oh my falafel. My suspension of disbelief survives ancient Egyptian magic, a CGI walking mummy, and even the addition of biblical plagues. But this is where I tap out. First, the idea that the Hebrew being spoken here sounds anything like the language spoken over 5,000 years ago is a stretch. Languages change fast. Give them a few hundred years and they can become hard to recognize. Give them thousands and you're basically playing historical telephone. Second, Jews did not exist as a distinct people during the time when Imhotep lived. Imhotep lived around 2600 BCE. The earliest evidence for ancient Jewish people appears more than 1,000 years later. The timeline here has been hit by a KDD ice cream truck. Third, Imhotep calls it the language of the slaves. The idea that slaves built the pyramids has been debunked thousands of times already.
For the longest time, it was thought that slaves who were at the behest of an evil pharaoh built the pyramids, and we could blame this fake news first and foremost on Herodotus, the Greek historian who wrote that the Great Pyramid was constructed by 100,000 slaves who labored constantly and were relieved every 3 months by a fresh gang. Another misconception that circulated is that the Jews built the pyramids. This lie started when the former Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin made the claim when he visited the National Museum of Cairo in 1977. Amahai Mazar, a professor at the Institute of Archaeology at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem and Israeli archaeologist, refutes Begin's claim because it simply doesn't make any sense. No Jews built the pyramids because Jews didn't exist at the period when the pyramids were built, Mazar was quoted as saying.
This is supposed to be a fun adventure movie about mummies and curses, and somehow it's devolving into biblical fan fiction. I am genuinely stunned, not because the movie has fantasy in it, because it throws a curveball of lies to my face expecting I'm gonna take it. It's insulting to our intelligence and it comes off as propaganda. We cut back to Cairo and a British officer is being escorted out of the cafe by, of course, a harem woman, a staple of Orientalist depictions. The sexy belly dancing woman is dancing around in cafes all around Egypt more commonly than air existing. It is completely made up and has a really dark history to it. They're taking a drink and the water turns into blood. Jonathan literally starts quoting the Bible.
And the rivers and waters of Egypt ran red and were as blood.
Then we get the meteors falling from the sky. I can't believe this is turning into a Bible movie. Imhotep shows up and tries to capture Evelyn. He tries sexually assaulting her with a kiss. How many men are gonna try to sexually assault Evelyn in this movie? It's getting ridiculous. Then he gets spooked by a cat like it's a Scooby-Doo cartoon. Apparently, cats are symbols of the afterlife, so it scares Imhotep out of his skin because he's dead right now. An eclipse made in the first version of Photoshop starts happening. Jonathan quotes the Bible again. I can't with this movie. Rick has a plan, but obviously it doesn't include a woman. Women are weak, according to this movie. Remember? He throws her over his shoulder onto a bed and then locks her in a room. I don't know what's worse at this point, the anti-Arabness or the anti-womanness of this movie. We see the face of the actor playing Imhotep. It's Arnold Vosloo. He's South African. Now it is confirmed. There's not one single Arab either in a starring or co-starring role in this movie set in Egypt. He gets into Evelyn's bedroom and sexually assaults her while she's sleeping. Who thought that this was okay? Why is this here? I get it, okay? He's an evil bad guy, but this is what, the third time Evelyn is sexually assaulted in this movie? Is this the director's kink or something? Okay, this part is hilarious.
Look at that guy.
Then we get a shot of the so-called Arabs, and they're all turned into zombies, mindless, dumb, and with the boils on their faces, which is another biblical plague. What does the heroic American do with the zombies? Slaughter them, without a single thought given to how to rescue them or minimize hurting them. They're just so disposable that at one point, they're literally mowing them down in a car, hundreds of them. Zero care given to the lives of Arabs. In other American movies with zombies, the people, they get in disbelief, they try to change them back, they try to rescue them, they try not to kill them. In this movie with the Arabs, who cares? Just kill them. Cut to the crew flying in a plane in the desert. It crashes, and without hesitation, there's gotta be quicksand. Every desert scene has to have quicksand. It's such a tired trope. Is quicksand even real? Does this exist, or is this just a movie thing? Does anybody know? I have been in the desert in sand thousands of times. I've never seen it. We get a clear face shot of Ardith. What do the tattoos say on his face? The ones on his cheek mean truth. This letter reminds me of the Arabic letter za. The tattoo on his forehead means underworld in Egyptian hieroglyphics. But is this realistic? Did they have face tattoos in ancient Egypt? If anyone knows, please chime in the comments. Then we get a final battle scene with a lot of CGI going on. I like this shot. A person on a chariot swoops down as a ghost and yoinks Imhotep's soul out of him. This reminds me a lot of Norse mythology stuff rather than ancient Egyptian. This makes Imhotep vulnerable. Rick stabs his booty. Imhotep falls into a pool and it looks like souls drag him down. He loses his skin and his life. The movie ends with Rick and Evelyn kissing. That's what Evelyn is here for anyways, to be the prize for the American hero. The rampant sexual assault throughout the movie by multiple men doesn't faze her one bit. It is revolting. But hilariously, Jonathan asks for a kiss from one of the beautiful camels. Come on, how can you resist a camel's kiss? What do I think of The Mummy? It's a really fun, entertaining popcorn movie. The action is solid. The story keeps moving. The twists keep you on your toes. But the best part is the effortless comedy. The jokes are woven into the story naturally, which gives the movie a light tone, even though there's a lot of dark things going on. And it helps to keep the pacing brisk. The CGI holds up surprisingly well for 1999. It never pulls me out of the experience. Well, except for when they overdo the opening jaw of Imhotep, which looks like straight cheese. I have to praise the costume designers. Most of the outfits look authentic enough that they sell the world instead of distracting from it. But sadly, the movie comes with camel hump-sized baggage. There are 0 Arab actors in major or minor roles. Arab extras get treated more disposably than Tic Tacs. How many Arabs die in this movie? hundreds, thousands. The body count is so high, the film barely notices. Then there's the Orientalism. Arabs are violent, Arabs are hypersexual, Arabs are dirty, Arabs are loud, Arabs haggle because they're trying to take advantage of you. And of course, there's the brief shot of the harem woman. It's almost as if Hollywood executives have a legally binding obligation to have a harem woman whenever they're filming the Middle East. But the worst part of this movie is the shift into biblical fan fiction. That scene with Benny and Imhotep. Ugh. 1 minute we're watching a mummy adventure movie. The next we're getting religious myths presented like historical facts. The plagues, the whole thing feels bizarrely out of place. It is aggressively inaccurate. So why all the biblical references mixed with anti-Arab depictions? In Real Bad Arabs, Jack Shaheen points to a possible explanation. Hoffman contends politics may have played a role in the demonization of Arabs, writing, Universal's president and chief operating officer is Ron Meyer. Universal is owned in part by Seagram, whose CEO is Edgar Bronfman Jr. Bronfman's father runs the World Jewish Congress. And finally, but not leastly, the wild misogyny. Sexual assault is used as a plot device.
Oh, for heaven's sake, girl, it wasn't that good of a kiss anyway.
Evelyn is introduced as a smart and capable librarian, but the movie constantly treats her like a piece of meat. Then she falls for the man who sexually assaulted her. Is this supposed to be a romantic? Because it's not. It's top tier ick. Where does The Mummy land on the Habibi movie tier list? I struggle with this one. The movie has a special place in my heart because my brother loves it. He watched it so much while we were growing up, and it's one of his favorites. There's a lot of nostalgia for me wrapped up in these movies, but nostalgia only gets you so far. I'm tempted to put it in C tier, but I can't do it. The Mummy belongs in F tier. It's a popcorn blockbuster with way too many awful things happening both above and under the surface to rank it any higher. Here's the frustrating part. The movie is entertaining. It's fun. It's genuinely a good time. But now my memory of it is permanently cursed. The only way to enjoy it is to shut your brain off and go along for the ride. But how can you do that now? The movie goes too far. Then it dropkicks my beating heart straight into the Nile. But maybe the sequel does better. Does The Mummy Returns redeem the franchise? We'll find out if this video gets hyped and hits 6,666 likes.